Welcome to Environmental Fridays. It is Personal, Season 3. This season will be featuring 12 episodes with 12 guest speakers from Barbados, Delaware, Grenada, Illinois, Kansas, Michigan, St. Lucia, Trinidad, Washington, and Virginia. Now here's our host, Dr. Desmond Hartwell Murray. And this week's co-host, Malika Walter. And this week's guest, Jaleen West.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. So I want to welcome everyone again to Environmental Fridays. It is personal, and we are in season 3. And if you wish, you can point your phone camera to this QR code, and that would actually take you to our website. So we encourage you to go to our Environmental Fridays website to learn more about Environmental Fridays. You get a lot more details there. For season 3, we have 12 episodes, 12 guest speakers, and they will come from Barbados, Delaware, Grenada, Illinois, Kansas, Michigan, St. Lucia, Trinidad, Washington, and Virginia. To find out who these speakers are and what their topics are, again, you can go to our website and look at, scroll down our schedule page from our website. So part of the reason, there are multiple reasons why we do Environmental Fridays, one of which I'd like to read to you that was part of the coverage of one of our partners, the Benton Spirit community newspaper. If your house is on fire in the middle of the night and you know it, do you keep it to yourself? Do you tell the adults? Do you not tell the children? Do you not tell the Black kids or the Navajo kids or the Caribbean kids? Do you wake them up? This is what Environmental Fridays is all about. It's about telling the truth, as the late Bob Marley sang in his song, Tell the Children the Truth. So we are telling the environmental truths, climate crisis, environmental justice, and very importantly, we want to make sure that what we hear, the words we hear, actually result in some sort of action being taken. So we want to go from words to deeds. And that's one of the things that we try to encourage here in Environmental Fridays. This week's episode is going to come to us from Point-A-Pierre Wildfowl Trust in Trinidad. And we have special guests. They may not be on, but we want to mention them. The president of Point-A-Pierre Wildfowl Trust is Molly Gaskin, and the vice president is Carolyn Shepard. And our speaker will probably mention some more about them. Our co-host today is Malika Walter, and she is from Arima. She's a proud mom of 2. She has a passion for service, and currently she is the constituency service officer for the Honorable Penelope Beckles, who is the Minister of Planning and Development in the government of Trinidad and Tobago. And so we'll hear from our co-host as she introduces our speaker for today.
Hi. Okay, thank you, Mr. Murray, for that introduction. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure this morning to be the co-host for this Environmental Friday program alongside Mr. Desmond Murray. I am pleased to introduce this morning the dynamic Jaleen West, Education Officer of the Pointe-a-Pierre Wildfowl Trust Trinidad, a young and aspiring environmental conservationist who graduated from the University of West Indies and holds a Bachelor in International Tourism Management. But however, found her passion in environmental education and public awareness. At the Trust, she oversees the agriculture programs for research, breeding, and releasing of locally endangered waterfowl and wetland birds. She also sensitizes students and visitors through the Trust Environmental Education and Public Awareness Program. She aims to share the importance of using natural resources wisely. She aims to instill a sense of pride in Trinidad and Tobago and the nation's young people. She hopes that all of us understand that there is only one place we call home, our earth, so we must protect it. So this morning, join me as we welcome Ms. Jaleen West.
All right, thank you very much. Very good. So I will make sure, Jaleen, you should be able to do your screen, share your screen.
Okay. All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm just going to my presentation with you this morning. Again, my name is Jaleen West, and I am an education or the senior education officer at the Pointe-a-Pierre Wildfowl Trust. A lot of people would hear of the Pointe-a-Pierre Wildfowl Trust and don't realize where it is located. So today I just want to share a bit of our history, a little bit of the overview, especially the work that we do. As you see in the presentation here, you will see it just with a little cottage in a forested area with a lake, but surrounding this image is actually a refinery. So as you look here, you will see the pictures as you can see it. So we are actually a national not-for-profit volunteer organization. And we do work not only on our own, but with other corporations, with government bodies, and even community groups as well. Right, so the refinery that we are located within, it was known as Petrotrin. It's now Heritage. And we are within the compound and we do conservation work. Right. So here you can see it's an inland wetland and we have 74 acres of the land inside of the refinery compound. Right, we're located on the west coast and here you can see a satellite image of the refinery as well as where we're located, which is outlined by the red line on the map. And due to our very unique location, we are able to do the work in terms of breeding our endangered waterfowl, as well as having migratory birds visit just this specific location, right? So here you can see these are the species of waterfowl that we breed. It's 5 different species of ducks. So when you hear the word wildfowl, I know a lot of people associate it with chicken, but it's really wild ducks. We also breed for release, the blue macaws, as well as the scarlet ibis, which is one of our national birds. And every one of the species that you see here are endangered or threatened. Unfortunately, a lot of our culture in Trinidad deals with eating or hunting wild meats. And one of a favorite delicacy I can say is curry duck. So due to the overhunting of these species, of these specific birds, they are either endangered or were actually locally extirpated. So through our breeding program, we've been able to release hundreds, even thousands of these birds since 1966. So this is just a snippet of the work here. On the compound, we do nature walks. So members, visitors, local, foreign, and even schools can experience the trust through our nature walks, as well as we have hiking trails. So here you can see Forest Walk, which teaches you about local forest trees and not just the name of the tree, but the value of the tree, if it's good for lumber or medicine, if the fruits are good for bats or birds or even butterflies. So you can learn and interpret as you walk on the trails. We have Fairy Woods, which is another one of our trails, as well as Devil's Air. And it has a very peculiar name, and people get a little shaken up when they hear the name, but it's actually named after the tree that you see in the picture and the seed pod that's to the right. It's shaped like an air, and the person who named it many, many years ago thought it looked like the devil's air. So on the trail, you can actually find the tree. It's a very huge tree. The seeds are eaten by agoutis. So it's very good for wildlife as well. Right. And of course, when you come to the trust, you have our learning center, which is a little cottage that you would have seen in the pictures earlier. In the building, we have a Amerindian display, so pottery artifacts that they would have found in and around Trinidad and Tobago. We have it on display that you can learn about. We even have artifacts that they found in the Pitch Lake on display here as well. And our shell and mollusk collection, which was found around Trinidad and Tobago. So everything from the island, everything part of our history and our culture that students and visitors alike can come and see and learn about. Right. So of course, getting back to the environmental education, as you see in the picture there, this is Miss Molly Gaskin back in the 1970s. She developed an environmental program that she took to schools, primary and secondary, throughout Trinidad and Tobago, teaching about environmental education at a point where nobody thought of it as being important or, critical. And this now forms a very important role in our work, because in breeding these endangered birds, we have to be sure that people understand the value of them in our wetlands, or even the value of our wetlands. And it can only be done through outreach, through education, reaching out to the students who will then take it back home, reach the parents, reach family members, and that's the aim. So it's the idea of making them aware, making them conscious about it, and getting them heavily involved in it. Right. Another part of our work is our outdoor labs. So primary schools, secondary schools, and especially tertiary schools come and do aquatic sampling or vegetative sampling. And it's something that we provide, we assist, we offer the habitat for that. Even though it is a man-made wetland ecosystem, it was designed to replicate that of a natural wetland area. So it's perfect for these types of experiments and labs. Right, here you can see pictures of our hands-on programs. So we cater for all ages. It goes from preschool all the way up to tertiary level. And in the first picture, you will see me with our snake Trixie. She's a rainbow boa. And it's sensitizing the children from small to the importance of snakes in your environment. A lot of people see snakes and the first thing they want to do is chop it or kill it. Snakes are very good for getting rid of rodents. That's one of the main roles that they play in the environment. So here we have them sensitizing them to the roles of snakes. And on the bottom right, this is a picture from a teacher's workshop that we did. A lot of the times teachers tend to be stuck in that indoor classroom setting, sticking to the curriculum. So what we offer is a way to think out of the box, using your natural environment to then better assist and teach your students. Right. And of course, again, I said it's all encompassing. The Wildfowl Trust has a boardwalk for the differently able. It expands 3/4 of the lake. And persons who have walking disabilities, people who are in wheelchairs, people who are visually impaired, hearing impaired, we've designed our nature walks to cater to them. So even if you are visually impaired, it does not mean that you cannot hear or smell or taste. So we cater that you can still experience nature, you can learn from nature still if you visit the trust as well. All right, so just touching on a bit of our historical achievements throughout the years. You will see here again Ms. Gasking with our audiovisual environmental program. This is something that we still do to this day, not only with the nature walks, but you can experience an educational film. We use all the topics that the students would learn in school. So the teachers would book and let us know what they are interested in learning about. And we would offer that to the students as well. Ms. Gaskin was also very instrumental in presenting this to the Ministry of Education. So she developed a curriculum, which is part of what we learn about today in schools, where students can learn about water cycle, food web, food chains. So the list goes on and on there, right? So this is how back in the 1980s, presenting the curriculum to the Ministry of Education at the time. Right? So over the years, we've not only been involved in terms of the breeding of endangered wetland birds. We believe that all environment is important, all wildlife is important. So we also played a very important role in sea turtles. To the right is a book that Ms. Gaskin and Ms. Shepherd developed in terms of sea turtle conservation, the proper way of identifying them, of taking care of them, doing the patrols on the beach, and just, you know, overall care for these species and the areas that they nest in. Right? In 1986, one of the reasons why we have the scarlet ibis at the trust is that they were able to lobby, even though it was our national bird, it was not originally protected by law. So through lobbying and much fight, they actually got it protected under the Sensitive Species Act. And it is now protected by law. You are fined if you're even found the feather of the bird. Right? So in light of the passing of the Queen, Her Majesty, we also had her daughter's visit. Her husband had visited as well. This is just some highlights came over the years. This particular book, Wonders of Wetlands, a Teacher's Pack, was part of one of the first publications created to assist teachers. So you don't have to wait to visit the trust to experience our education program. You can purchase one of our publications, which will help with you in the classroom, or if you want to do an exercise out of the classroom. This is still available today at the Point of View Wildfowl Trust. If anybody is ever interested in it, we do have it on site. Right? One of the biggest achievements that I would say that the Point of View Wildfowl Trust, especially with Ms. Gasking, that we have achieved is getting the Nariva Swamp, which is one of our biggest wetland areas in the country and the home to our blue and gold macaws, protected not just locally, but to be part of the Ramsar Convention and created to be a Ramsar site. So now it's internationally protected. And without this wetland, Trinidad would face a lot of problems with winds from hurricanes, especially coming in from the Atlantic. So this wetland actually forms a protective barrier for us. And it was through her lobby, through many letters, many visits to the wetland area, going to international bodies, that she was able to achieve getting the Nariva Swamp as a Ramsar site. It was the first Ramsar site. We now have the Caroni Swamp as well as the Buku Reef under the Ramsar Convention as well. Right? And just in recognition of all the work that she has done over the years, she was one of 25 women honored under UNEP in 1997. Here again, you will see our boardwalk. So this was commissioned in 2001. We still have it to this day, and we still have groups coming in. We still have visitors coming in who want to see the trust, who want to experience the trust, which we accommodate through these programs, these special programs, right? And of course, our nature reserve, our conservation site is complemented with a guest house and restaurant. They do farm to table in keeping with the whole conservation and environmental focus. Freebird, if you are ever visiting and you would like to stay over or just have a meal, this is something that you can include with your nature walk at the Wildfowl Trust. Right. And the latest achievement is that the Pointe-a-Pierre Wildfowl Trust in 2019 was designated a heritage site. We are very proud of this because it means that we can now continue our work with support from other local NGOs as well as government bodies. It means that we are not facing any endangerment with our birds. So we are protected and pushing forward. Right. Just to share some special projects that we've been working on. A lot of things were pushed back due to the COVID pandemic. This was something we wanted to start it since 2018. Originally, the idea was to create a butterfly and hummingbird garden, something to attract visitors other than the birds that you would find in the area. But of course, when you're dealing with the environment, you will always learn that everything is linked. You can't do one thing without affecting another. So one of the benefits of wanting to create this garden is now it has now developed into a pollinator's garden, which is something that I know Ministry of Planning and a lot of other organizations are doing at the moment. So we've developed an area where we would have specific plants planted for species of butterflies, and especially in light of the monarch butterfly being listed as endangered. That is one of the species that we are particularly focusing on because they feed on a very specific plant called a milkweed. So those are plants that we are including within our garden. And of course, this is something that anybody can do, even in your backyard, even in potted plants. You just have to have the right plants. That's something that we can always share with anybody who's interested. You can always email us or call us, and we would share the information in terms of plants you can use, methods you can do. So this is something that we are hoping that will catch on, and we're pushing with schools. So we want to get a lot of groups involved in this and see where it develops into as well. I know we also face our honeybees being listed as endangered. So we want to sensitize people to the importance of that as well. And the latest thing that we did for our 60th independence, we had a release of our birds, and we released 20 wild Muscovy ducks. We released 12 blue and gold macaws and 10 fulvous whistling ducks. So they have been thriving very well in the environment. It just goes to show that the breeding program is very successful, that they can survive on their own. And we're hoping to have a release of white-faced whistling ducks within the next few weeks. So it's a program that is progressing very beautifully. Right. Now, just to share with anybody who may be interested, whether it's locally or even internationally, we are a volunteer organization. So if you do have spare time and you want to find a way to give back or you like the environment, you can come and volunteer with us, as well as we do offer internship for students. Aviculture, it's something if you're interested in learning about, we are here to train you about it. Environmental education. Of course, everything that we do revolves around making sure that people are aware and sensitized to the issues that are facing our environment. Research, we have university students who have to do their research papers or their masters. We assist with that as well. hobbyists or even professionals, photography, environmental photography is a very big thing. And I would say that photographers tend to fall in love when they come here. They sometimes don't even want to leave, but it is a place that you can come and spend your time. All right, of course, conservation. Now, the topics that I would have touched on today, it does not stop there. We do topics such as climate change. Ms. Gaskin has been doing that since the early 80s. Plastic pollution, we do student workshops. So it's very exhaustive, the list of things that we do. But of course, if there's anything new, we're open to listening and we're opening to working with you as well, once it's for the benefit of the environment. Right, policy planning and procedure. We do take part in stakeholder meetings, especially with ministries, with constituencies, anybody who thinks they need an input, especially on the environment. Once it's towards sustainable development, we are here to assist, right? And of course, global networking. I was mentioning earlier before that the Point of View Wildfowl Trust is actually the second oldest in the world, the first one being the Wetlands and Wildfowl Trust in Slimbridge, England. And they are our brother organization. They do the same wetland conservation. We've partnered with Sylvan Heights in California as well. They assisted us in getting the white face whistling ducks. So we do have partnerships globally, and it's something that, we always work, especially we work through embassies, the German embassy, we work with the New Zealand High Commission, the British High Commission. So there is a network through the Wildfowl Trust. And this brings me to the end of my presentation. If anybody has any questions, thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. That was a very good presentation. And one of the things that strikes me about it is that oftentimes, even here on Environmental Fridays, we look at the problems and all of the bad things that's happening in the environment. What you presented to us today is good, it's positive, it's actually exemplary so that others could follow. You gave ideas on what schools could do, what individuals at their homes could do, organizations could get involved. It was really good because it's good news about the environment. And since I'm a Trinidadian, I'm very proud of what you and the White Trust is doing to make us be a shining light in terms of actively getting involved and doing conservation work with respect to the environment. So my co-host, do you have a question that you want to get started with or comment?
Hi, yes. So I'll just say thank you, Jaleen, for that information. It was very informative, very educational. I just want to know, based on knowing how we celebrate some of the events down here with loud noises, fireworks, whistling the bamboos. I just want to know, how does that affect, how does the loud?
So that's a good question. Because we've developed the area to be, like a natural wetland area, one of the perks of being within a refinery, especially when the refinery was up and running, is that ever so often you would get loud noises, especially on a Wednesday, they did a test run of their emergency alarms. So throughout the years, what has happened is that the ducks are actually somewhat sensitized to loud noises. And most of the times you will see them, they will be disturbed, they'll fly around and all of that. But we've never had instances of them actually like dying from shock or anything like that. And I think it's a matter of they knowing how to maneuver themselves within the environment. So it helps. Whereas, most of the times you get these issues in urban areas because it's already out of their natural habitat, they're already disoriented, and then they get the noise. So for us here, the refinery helps to sensitize it a bit. And in terms of like fireworks, due to the areas that they have the fireworks, we're actually not affected that much by it. So that's one of the solutions there.
Okay.
Okay, so we would like to open up the time now for questions and comments. Anyone has questions and comments? While you're thinking of your questions and comments, so just to be clear, is environmental science part of the curriculum? Is it a subject in the CXC across the Caribbean? Could you give me some?
I'm aware of it being part of the Cape level. I'm not too sure if they have it at O levels, but at O levels in biology, they do ecology labs. So that's where they have the vegetative sampling and the aquatic sampling. So that's where we come in and assist. I know they also started part of agri-science. There's a bit of the environment mixed in there as well. But environmental sciences, I know it at the A levels status and then in the university.
So
yeah.
how early do they get introduced to environmental science? And starting from preschool, elementary, and so on. Do you know?
So preschool is very basic. They would do flora and fauna, basically just like the names or where they live. Primary school is where they get into a little more detail. So they learn about reptiles, they learn about habitats, aquatic or terrestrial. They learn about the water cycle. So those, again, basic things, and then it climbs as it goes. So in secondary school, they then get introduced into conservation and pollution, climate change. I think they touch on climate change a bit in primary school as well, but all at a basic level.
Okay.
Yeah. But what we try to do is what they learn in their textbooks. We try to bring it to life, give them real examples, see it happening. I show them a lot with the trees, especially with climate change, how the trees are bearing out a season. And sometimes you see it, but you don't think about it. So when you highlight it, now they start thinking about it and aware of it.
Okay. All right. So still, anyone has questions or comments? We open for that right now. In the meantime, I will ask more questions. So the butterfly gardens, could you tell us some more about the problem with the monarch? Because I know, for example, one of our guests on here right now, Serena, and I think there are some others associated with the Friends of the Botanic Garden. Do you guys, first of all, do you work with them or know about what they're trying to do at the Royal Botanic Garden?
We are aware. We've been part of some of the webinars that the ministry has planned and host as well. But like I say, we applaud their efforts because it's really something commendable. But I have to admit that my project started out as a personal hobby, I should say.
Okay.
I noticed being at the Wildfowl Trust, everybody always talks about the birds. And I'm a person who, I really like plants, especially the whole medicinal properties of plants. And then I started getting fascinated by the amount of butterflies I saw in the area. So I said, this is something that people would be interested in. People would like to learn about butterflies. And that's where the idea started. But in light of the work that, Friends of Botanical Gardens and the ministry has been doing, of course, it's going to develop into part of that as well, which of course, the more gardens we have like this and the more people that are aware of it, is always a positive thing for the environment. Yeah. So in light of the news as they come, we, like you say, we always try to find solutions for the problems rather than just to focus on the problems.
Yep.
So of course it started as a butterfly garden, but it's going to be a pollinators garden because naturally bees will come, naturally the caterpillars will be there, naturally the hummingbirds will come. So it's going to grow.
Okay. Again, opportunity for others to chime in. So are you faced with problems dealing with pesticide use and stuff? I'm assuming that you kind of like don't use that in your Wildfowl trust, but does the use of it in other places, maybe surrounding places, affect, as far as you guys know, what's going on at your place, at your trust?
Well, so far we've not had any problems. One of the good things of being within the refinery is, as they say, we make them look good.
Okay.
So they work very well with us, right? So they don't create any problems for us. We don't create any problems to them. I mean, we'll pull them up when they have their little issues in terms of the environment. But in terms of insecticides, oil leaks, not in our area. And when it comes to having pests, as we do experience pests, we look for natural solutions. So of course there are natural insect repellents that are not toxic and something, because we have to be mindful of all the wildlife in the area, not just the birds.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, so that's really good, because that could be a problem, especially like in areas that have, high in agriculture, and they are using different chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, and stuff. But it sounds like you guys don't really have that much of a problem with it there. Okay. Okay, any other?
I could ask a question here.
Okay.
So Walter Murray. So do you have opportunities where corporations and businesses could partner with your organization to help promote your programs?
Yes, of course. We are open to any organization, any even government body that would like to work with us. We have worked with other organizations in doing outreach programs, even for the company itself. If it's to come and do, sometimes they ask to do like field trip workshops just to sensitize the employees issues with the environment. So we are very much open into working with other organizations.
Okay.
Great. So I'll get your contact information through Dr. Murray, and maybe we'll try to reach. Thanks.
Patricia had her hand up.
Yes, Patricia, you could unmute and ask a question.
Okay, I was, thank you very much. Patricia McGraw speaking, Council of Presidents of the Environment. Do you have any problems with predators? I'm thinking in that area you have caiman. You might have natural predators as well, two-legged ones, as well as various other kinds. Is that a problem, and kind of what other challenges do you have to deal with?
So being the area that we are, it is very open. So as you said, yes, we've had challenges with two-legged predators, but it just means taking extra precautions, which we've done. We did suffer 2 years ago. We suffered a major break-in where they stole our ducklings and macaws and peafowl. So since then, security has been beefed up. Cameras have been put in place, and so far so good. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. And in terms of the natural predators in the pond area, you will get caimans. again, it's a matter of working with other organizations to control the population, as well as things like possum, or what we call manikou, or mongoose. Those are natural predators which we would trap and relocate.
So just to be very, very clear, two-legged predators.
Yes.
Yes, that's the
unfortunately,
euphemism for us.
yeah, unfortunately, due to the closure of the refinery, a lot of people thought the area was closed off or abandoned as well. But we've been here throughout. We've been pushing our work throughout. So it's just a matter of beefing up, you know, the awareness and all of that as well.
Okay. All right, very good, very good. We could take a couple more questions.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, how you doing? I have a question
So,
for Jaleen.
tell us who you are and all of that.
Certainly, certainly. So I'm Steve Cupid Theodore. I'm formerly with the Toko Foundation and a longtime ally and admirer of the work of the Wildfowl Trust. So very good to see you this morning. And I know that the work of our founder, Michael Alves, and Molly Gaskin go way back. They had quite a very deep and personal relationship. So it was very good to hear this morning. Jaleen, I wanted to ask you something about, I know that Molly's been working very long on the issue of climate change and education and sensitization around that issue. Can you tell me if, can you identify the extent to which you all have been practicing regenerative or indigenous practices there that have been meant to adapt or mitigate the effects of climate change?
Well, primarily we focus more on the education and public awareness, but through that we've started more or less promoting specific plants that can be used to help with climate change. There are certain plants that they have identified that are very good in terms of absorbing carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases. So it's something that we pushed in schools before, and now that we're getting back into some normalization, it's something that we will be pushing again. In terms of getting schools to like plant trees, some of them of which we provide from right here at the Trust, and especially plants that you can even have in the classroom. Against plants that people consider just bush or not even something that you can have ornamental. When you show them how to use it and the importance of it, then you get them to adapt to that. So a lot of it is things that we have here at the Trust, and we create the gardens for it here as well.
So okay, give us an idea of how many schools that are, working with you. That's
a very good question. It will definitely be 100 plus. There are times which we aim at rural areas. There are times we focus on the urban areas, and we go across to Tobago as well. Nice. So
that's very good. You guys are doing a really good job. Theodore, did you have a follow-up?
Well, not really, because I think in several cases, local practitioners are engaged every day in practices that reflect our historical understandings and memory of how we should be stewards of the environment and the physical, the physical environment as well as the social one. And I feel that organizations like the Wildfowl Trust this has been part of their DNA. And oftentimes what we find is that international funders and so on who are thinking about, or even social planners and so on, who are thinking about how peoples and organizations can adapt and mitigate and deal with the losses from climate change. They don't realize that many of the practices that we've been engaged in, since the inception, are those that actually promote alternative indigenous practices and knowledges that can be extremely protective and should be, should be promoted, identified, and supported. So, so I was just, I was just hoping that just to bring some awareness to the ways in which every day, in your planting practices, in the way that you treat, you treat the land, in the sort of symbiotic relationship between the fowl, the land, and pollination and so on, that that you're thinking of yourself as an actual climate change warrior, a local and regional practitioner of engaged in regenerative practices that can help protect us from the terrible effects of climate change. So I don't know if you were thinking along those lines, but maybe it could be a topic for further discussion as well.
Yeah, it surely is.
Well, one of the things that we've done throughout the years is we've stopped thinking of, we know climate change is here. We know it's a problem. So we've been focusing on initially adapting and then want to mitigating. So it's about creating the mindset from young, from small, getting the students into that. And even here at the Trust, we try to show the example of when the Trust started in 1966, it was just a hill area with a lake. But since then, we've planted so many trees in the area that within the refinery itself, or within the little region that we are an example of a carbon sink because of the amount of trees that were planted. And we continue to plant the trees, as well as we encourage other persons and schools to plant trees, because we know for sure that that is one of the solutions towards climate change. Of course, as time goes along, there would be other solutions, which of course we will promote without hesitation.
Yeah, very good. So we're getting close to the end. You didn't show any peacock pictures or movies. I really enjoyed my time there, and you know, that's how we met.
Unfortunately, they were victims of the two-legged predators.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
yeah, so we're in the process of repopulating the peafowl, because we do know a lot of people love to see them. But in the meantime, we have the macaws flying overhead.
Okay.
And of course, the ducks.
Okay. Yeah. So it looks like Rika, you have.
I have
yes.
No, Rika could go ahead. I'll ask after.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Hi. Yes, I'm Rika Marie. Currently, unfortunately, not so active sort of member of the Friends of Botanic Gardens. And I thank you all for sharing the informations and opportunities available in Trinidad and Tobago to become active in, sparing the environment. I'm also so grateful for what all of you are doing for the good of the environment. So thank you. Due to some connection challenges, I was only able to hear the presentation of the Wildfowl Trust. And I'd like to specifically ask the lady about the opportunities for internships for students.
Oh, okay.
Are there any requirements, example with respect to time or any things? Thank you so very much.
Well,
have a good day. God bless everyone.
No problem. When it comes to volunteering or even internship, I usually personally don't discriminate. And why I say that is that a lot of people think to get involved in the Wildfowl Trust or even the environment, you have to have a background like biology or zoology or environmental sciences. I tell people my background is international tourism management. It was a lot of marketing and planning and policy, but I grew up in the what they would call countryside of Trinidad. I grew up with my parents teaching me about medicinal plants. Wildfowl Trust was part of my field trips when I went to school. And I came here, fell in love with the idea of environmental conservation. I've been here for the past 8 years. So any student, any child, any individual who is interested, you just have to contact us. We are willing to teach, train. Once you have that passion, we will work with it, we will develop it, we will mentor. It's not a matter of you have to have a certain background.
Good.
Thank you so very much.
Very good.
No problem.
Okay, Malika, you had comment?
Yeah,
or
I just wanted to find out, you know, given these slideshows that we saw with the nature park, I mean, the birds have a lot of vibrant colors. It's really, truly a beautiful nature park. I just wanted to know, in terms of the schools, have they ever engaged, or have you all engaged them into doing like an art competition, enjoying something from the nature park based on a tour that they probably would have done, or, you know, just the whole experience?
Yes, in the past, we've done poetry competitions, we've done art competitions, and of course, it's things that we will do again. We will engage the students with those particular exercises. Even for climate change, we had a painting competition for that as well, and it's very interesting, the pieces that was created. We do still have pieces on our website, which is www.papwildfowltrust.org. We even have a YouTube channel where you can see those things as well. And for persons who may be away and interested in seeing a bit more of the Wildfowl Trust, we do have a virtual tour on YouTube as well. So you can see and still experience it if you can't come in person right away.
Very good, very good. Well,
but Dr. Murray, I know you have to leave. This is Princella Tobias here in the state of Michigan. And here I am in Michigan, and I'm just being overwhelmed and so intrigued with what I've heard today and seen. And it's wonderful that you're able to bring this to us from all over the world, even in the little city that I happen to reside in. So I enjoyed this. I look forward to all the others. I would encourage each and every person on this call to invite their friends and families and colleagues, and let's keep the environment alive. And to your speaker today, I say thank you very much for sharing.
Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you. That was Princella Tobias. She's one of my partners from the get-go with Environmental Fridays. And she is the publisher of the Benton Spirit newspaper. And I think I sent a copy of the Benton Spirit coverage of Environmental Fridays. So thank you so much for that comment. So yeah, now is about time for us to wrap up. Everybody, I think you guys know that we will have this video on YouTube eventually, hopefully by next week, and you'll send the link to it. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Jaleen West. Again, like I mentioned, we met this past summer. She is awesome, especially on those tours. She knows everything. Very impressive. And we immediately hit it off. And this is part of the result of it. So very good job. We'll continue to collaborate on this. And what you're doing and your organization is doing, the Wildfowl Trust, is really exemplary, not just in the Caribbean, not just, you know, on an island, but it's really global, has a global impact. Also like to thank Malika Walter, who was a bit hesitant to be a co-host, but she came through shining colors. So you could put this in your resume now. You've done it.
I will.
Yes. So thank you so very much for this.
You are most welcome.
Yes, and for everyone that was on here today, thank you. And as Princella said, share this experience with others, encourage them to come on. I've seen some other people that I've gotten to know. Thank you all for sharing this experience here with us today. Next week, in fact, let's see, I want to show you something here in closing really quickly on my screen. So I'm going to share my screen again. So next week, we will have, so this is one thing that we would like persons to do, is to send us in testimonials, 100 words or less. It could be after different episodes or at the very end of the season. And some of these are already online, published at our testimonials page in our website, environmental website. Also, next week, just a promotion here for next week, we'll be looking at reducing exposure to waterborne pathogens. So that's what's coming up next week. Joseph Falkenham is another very stalwart supporter of our Environmental Fridays from Virginia Tech. So again, thank you so very much to everyone. Thank you to our partners and sponsors. You can see them again on our partners page on our website.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Okay,
Take care,
bye.
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 For more information about our sponsors and partners, please visit the Environmental Fridays Partners and Sponsors page. Be sure to visit our website at www.theenvironmentalfridays.com.